So Caylee Anthony is back with us. She has made a rambling video on TikTok that's got folks saying, what the hell is going on here? It's a complete word salad, but word salads are what I am good at. And I think I've got to the bottom of what it is she wants to achieve with this video that she has released. You will have to wait until the end of this video to find out what that is. Welcome to Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use to see if they're telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, using my statement analysis process that anyone can use to uncover the truth behind what people are really saying when they use words. So Caylee Anthony then, she has released this video in her car that all seems a bit bizarre. It's not really clear what her message is, but when we break down the words, can we understand what it is that Caylee wants to achieve with this video? Let's take a look at it.
I sweat to death. Okay. Today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Caylee Anthony. My daughter is Caylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things that they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. Moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to. So with that, please join me on Substack. If you have questions, I will set up an email address where we can correspond directly. Up until this point, that has never happened. And it's only going to be on a limited basis regarding legal issues, legal matters.
Wow. So what do you take from that? Well, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what her priorities are, because I think that is what's going to get us to the heart of why she has released this video on TikTok now. Although I will say her priority when she starts the video is a casual mention of death. Not what I would have done if I was in Caylee Anthony's position, but she starts by saying, I'm sweating to death. Okay, I just would not have done that. It does not mean that, hey, she's a guilty person, this is leakage here. It just means I'm not. This was done in a bit of a rush. I would have cut that off. I really would not have started with a casual mention of death if I was in Caylee Anthony's position. She gives us the date. Today is Saturday, March the 1st, 2025. And this is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. Now, this is very much the vibe all the way through. This is all about Caylee. She's quite a self-centered person. She doesn't say, this is the first of many recordings. This is my first of probably many recordings. So she's talking about herself here. Herself, she is at the center of what this is all about. That doesn't make her a bad person. It's just an insight into her personality, or maybe her motivations for making this video. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. So I'm getting the sense that this was done in a bit of a rush, that this hasn't been all the way thought through. It's just probably the first of many recordings in a series that I'm starting. So I think this has been done very much on the spur of the moment. And this explains why it just all seems like word salad. She hasn't thought through very well how she wants to say what it is that she wants to say and what she wants to get across. Her next sentence is, I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. Doing what? She doesn't tell us. She doesn't tell us who she advocates for. She doesn't tell us what she researches into. She doesn't tell us what she's been doing in the legal field since 2011. This very much feels like she's trying to drop a calling card to give her some credibility, to give her some seriousness here. You know, I'm not just known as this person that was involved in this murder case. I'm a legal advocate. I'm a researcher. I have been in the legal field since 2011, but she doesn't say doing what. It's not, again, very well thought through. Maybe even she doesn't have the authentic language to tell us what these things are that she's been doing as an advocate, as a researcher in the legal field, because when we don't have the authentic language or experience, then we find it much harder to construct that in our words. She carries on. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I will start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Caylee Anthony. My daughter is Caylee Anthony. Now, we've got quite a bit going on there. We've got the word advocate a lot of times here. 3 times in that very short paragraph there, she says advocate. She wants to operate appropriately as a legal advocate. She wants to start advocating for myself, also advocate for my daughter. So advocating, I think advocating for herself is the most important thing, because that's the first thing she mentions. It's advocate for myself, number 1, advocate for my daughter, number 2. So again, I've got this sense that Casey's most important priority is herself, but she wants to use that quite virtuous word, advocate there. Stand up for myself was another way of saying advocating. Get my own way might be another way of saying advocating, but she's put it in that quite virtuous term of advocating. She says, I want to advocate for myself and also for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Caylee Anthony, so she introduces herself first, again, just saying she's the priority there, not the daughter. My daughter is Caylee Anthony, and what is interesting to me in all of that is she uses the present tense to refer to her daughter. Not my daughter was Caylee Anthony, it's my daughter is Caylee Anthony. Interesting psychological sign there. She then goes on to talk about her parents. Now, when was the last time you did a TikTok and introduced yourself? Yeah, maybe we would introduce ourselves when we make a TikTok, but telling people who our parents are, this is the something 100th video I've made. I have never said, hi, I'm Jack, and by the way, my parents are... It just would not happen. So parents are something that is on her mind, and she mentions them very quickly at the start of this video. Before we've got any real content going on, she's introduced herself in terms of she's a legal advocate. She's introduced herself in terms of her name. She's introduced herself in terms of what she's doing as being an advocate for herself. And then once she's made the introductions, bang, into the parents. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. When people tell us what isn't happening, what things are not about, that suggests what is actually in their head. So it suggests their priorities. Even though they're telling us that this is not what's happening, it's obvious from the fact they've mentioned them, they have some focus on these things that are not happening. So this is not about them. I think this might be about them. And this is not in response to anything they have said or done. What they have said and done is very much in Casey's head as she's talking there, and I really want to know what it is that they've said or done. Is this stuff that's in the past? I know there has been a lot has gone on around this family, some stuff more recent than others, or has something else happened recently? I don't know, but definitely this is very much showing that her parents are in her head. They are a priority in her head. She goes on with more things that's not happening. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things they have said and done. So again, we've got this concept of responding to the things they've said and done. And she's still talking about her parents here, and she's still talking about what her parents have done. This, what she spent most time on so far in this video, are her parents. She's big mad at her parents. We can get that here because they have said and done things. And again, she's telling us, I'm not going to do this, but I am going to respond at some point. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. And again, very self-referential, that last part there. That is all about Casey. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. So this is very much about herself. And for some reason, she's decided to step back into the limelight and to let herself shine through. She hasn't quite articulated that reason yet, though, has she? She says, moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. That word majority jumps out at me there. So maybe she feels the majority of what we will see will be her talking in a professional capacity. But there will be other stuff where she talks in a personal capacity. And so far, the professional it's been over there. I still don't know what the professional means. I do not know what she's talking about when she talks about her professional capacity or the things she's going to do there. In a personal capacity, I know lots about it. I know her name. I know about her daughter. I know she wants to advocate, and I know she's doing this for herself. Not going to talk about the parents, though, even though she talks about the parents quite a lot. She says, my goal is to continue to help give people a voice to people. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people. Now, my goal is to continue to help. So if you're already doing this, which is what continue suggests, if you're continuing to help, that's not a goal. That is just keeping on doing the same thing that you're doing. But she wants to give a voice to people. Now, people is an interesting term to me. People's very generic. It really doesn't mean very much. People appears a lot in deception when we can't narrow it down and be more specific about things because it doesn't exist. Then she wants to give a voice to people. All we've seen so far is she wants to give a voice to herself. She wants to advocate for herself. This is about herself. But now she's telling us that she wants to continue to help, just help, not give a voice to people, but help give a voice to people. To give people tools and resources they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to. So with that, please join me on Substack. I'm a little bit lost with all of that, but wait till the end of this episode because it will all become clear. She wants to give people tools and resources. She doesn't really say what, that they can utilize. Well, that's what you do with tools and resources. You utilize tools and resources that you are given. So this is just empty words. So they actually know where they can turn to. For what? I've no idea what's going on here. This is just word salad. She hasn't really thought this through properly until she says, please join me on Substack. If you have any questions, I will set up an email address where we can correspond directly. Up until this point, that has never happened, and it's only going to be on a limited basis regarding legal issues, legal matters. So again, we've got all this mention of legal, but which legal issues? Is she going to help me buy a house? Is she going to help with some of my insurance claims? She does not say. This is all not thought through. I really think this was done in a rush because she's not able to articulate what is going on here? What kind of questions is she going to answer? Just legal issues and legal matters. She says, I will set up an email address. So she's rushed. She's recorded this video. She's published this video, but she does not have an email address there. So what I'm getting from here is lots of mentions of this legal process and helping people. But what is this legal process? What is the legal work she's been doing? Who are the people she's helping? That's not very clear, but I know who she is. I know what she wants, and I know that she is big angry at her parents. Shall we get the second half of the video then?
One of the main reasons that I'm doing this, there are people close to me who have been targeted and attacked recently. There are also people close to me who have had some recent things occur. And when necessary, people needed to step up, myself included. So as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me and now look at as a blessing as opposed to the curse that it has been since 2008. With that, these aren't going to be perfect. They're not going to be edited. Most of the time, they're not going to be short. But I am proverbially standing in the light, embracing this piece, still going to keep my privacy intact. So you will get very comfortable with my car, and I will explain in great detail why it's so important for people to protect their privacy. It's not just important to public figures, it's even more important to private individuals. And with the current climate in our country especially, it's that much more important, which is why I am utilizing the Substack platform. Yes, I am advertising this and publishing this on TikTok, possibly also through other meta platforms, but my intention is to separate from that and showcase even more why Substack is such an important resource for people to utilize moving forward. Anyway, I appreciate your time, and we'll see how this goes.
And with that, it's gone. Look, people's truth will leak out in their words. One of the main reasons that I'm doing this, there are people close to me who have been targeted and attacked recently. So she starts off with one of the main reasons that I'm doing this. So this is not the main reason, it's just one of the main reasons. And I think I'm already getting down to that. One of the real reasons she's doing this is to speak about her parents and her personal life at some point. Anyway, she goes on to use this very generic term again. There are people close to me, so people close to me, who have been targeted and attacked recently. Again, there's just nothing there around what this means. Targeted how? Attacked? Is that attacked terribly, viciously, physically, violently? Or is that attacked verbally on social media or something like that? All of them are attacks, but she's got no context to give us whatsoever. She's using big words, people have been targeted and they've been attacked. But really, she's given us no context as to how bad this targeting or attacking has been. Again, I don't think she has the authentic words to back this up. There are also people, again, we've got that word people, there are also people close to me who have had some recent things occur. And when necessary, people, again, needed to stand up, myself included. Now, she doesn't say anyone stood up, they just needed to stand up. And there's a big difference between standing up for something and needing to stand up for something. So she's remote, she's distant from this here. So again, I just don't think this is something that really happened that as big as she would like it to sound, which is why that she doesn't have the real words to back any of this up and make this sound a bit more authentic, to give us a bit more context, even just to make it make a bit more sense. She says, so as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important I use this platform that was thrust on me. So we've had a couple of buzzwords in there with LGBTQ and women's rights, but she doesn't say what she's doing for them, especially not in any legal sense, how she advocates for them, any specific issues around there as well. It's just all very broad brush, this. LGBTQ, there are 1,000,001 issues that face that community, but she can't articulate one of them. She can't tell us which area she's been specialising in. Women's rights, the exact same thing, and women's rights comes last there. And she says, I feel it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me. Was the platform thrust upon her? Well, the courts may have something to say about that. Public opinion would have something different to say about that. But this was not a platform that was thrust upon you. You maybe came across it due to certain things that you were involved in, I think is maybe the legally precise way of saying that. But it's very interesting that she thinks that all this attention that she has was thrust upon her. She now looks at it as a blessing as opposed to the curse it has been since 2008. With that, these aren't going to be perfect, and here she goes again telling us what's not happening. So she's talking about the videos. These aren't going to be perfect. They're not going to be edited. Most of the time, they're not going to be short. So again, her focus is on she doesn't even think this is very good herself, does she? They're not going to be perfect. They're not going to be edited. I would have edited out the death line at the start, Casey, but that's just a pro tip for you. Most of the time, they're not going to be short, but I am proverbially standing in the light, embracing this peace, still going to keep my privacy intact. Where did privacy come from? Privacy, all of a sudden, towards the end of this, became something. So privacy, and you've seen the end of the TikTok, privacy and private information gets kept a lot. So is there something going on here where she feels her privacy has been violated? And that's what she's on about here. But anyway, she's going to keep her privacy intact. So you will get very comfortable with my car. Now, we've got you will get, so that's a bit of an ordering phrase here. That's a bit of a commanding phrase, not stand by to get comfortable with my car or you'll see a lot of my car. It's you will get very comfortable with my car. If you insist there. By the way, I do not know why privacy is enhanced by filming TikToks inside a car compared to inside a house or against the wall or anything like that. Like, I do not understand why it is more private inside her car. I think potentially, maybe not in a house because there's someone there who doesn't know she's doing this. I don't know. And I will explain in great detail why it's so important for people to protect their privacy. I don't know, did anyone ask for any of this? Again, there's just no context there, but privacy is a big thing here. I think, she feels her privacy has been ruined or she's been let down in some respect over that because she keeps coming back to privacy. She says, it's not just important to public figures, it's even more important to private individuals. And with the current climate in our country especially, it's much more important, which is why I am utilising the Substack platform. And it starts to sound like an advert for Substack here, as if Substack have slipped us some money and said, hey, Casey, could you promote the Substack platform here? It's like one of these sponsored messages where there's a whole load of fluff, and then once I've got your attention, hey kids, use Substack. Yeah, she's utilising the Substack platform, in case you hadn't noticed. She says, yes, I am advertising this and publishing this on TikTok. So we've got the word advertising there. So what is going on here? We've got all this legal stuff that she's talking about. She's trying to get us to on Substack, and she talks about advertising. That will become important at the end. And publishing this on TikTok, possibly also through other meta platforms. I don't know whether she just missed a comma out there when she was talking. TikTok's not a meta platform. Hey-ho. But my intention is to separate from that and showcase even more why Substack is such an important resource for people to utilise moving forward. Anyway, I appreciate your time, and we'll see how this goes. And she's once again talking about utilising and resources again. And once more, it's people who are going to utilise this. So it's that bland, generic term. She's not specific around this at all. Now, have you any idea what that was all about, what it is that she wants to achieve by releasing this video on TikTok? I think I got it figured out. It was that word advertising that did it for me. The word advertising got things to my head. Advertising is spending money to tell people about something to get money back, to get sales back. And notice every time she mentions Substack, she mentions utilise, and twice when she mentions Substack, she mentions resource. The first time she mentioned it, she wanted to give people tools and resources that they can utilise so they actually know where they can turn to. So with that, please join me on Substack. The second time she mentioned it, she said, I am utilising the Substack platform. And finally, she said, Substack is such an important resource for people to utilise moving forward. Well, every time she's mentioned Substack, use Substack. So she sees Substack as something that can be used. And twice she talks about a resource there. And what's a resource? Well, it's something that you have. It's also something very valuable. So I think from advertising, from using Substack, utilizing it, and also the mention of resources there, what this is all about is her making money from Substack. So I checked it out, and these are the UK prices here that you can see. That's all I could get. But if you want to be a founding member of this Substack, which she has rushed, as we saw there, to promote without any real reason, I do not know why I would go on her Substack, because I do not know what I'm getting from it. But if you go there, if you want to be a founding member, 200 Great British pounds per year. If you want to go annual, it is £85 a year. And if you want to go monthly, you are paying Caylee Anthony £9 in a month. And that's what I think this is all about. It is all about making money from Substack. Only I don't know if she will, because who would pay money when the sales pitch is as vague and strange as that one? So there you go. That is Caylee Anthony. That is Caylee Anthony with the TikTok. What do you think? Do let me know. You can let me know in the comments here if you can, or you can let me know on the socials. You'll find all the details of those at neveratruerword.com. Also there, you'll find loads more videos and podcasts where you can dig into the words that people choose to use to see what they are really saying. Neveratruerword.com. And I'll see you soon for something new from Never a Truer Word.